Hello, this is Miho from Canada. How are you guys doing? I hope your mental health and body health are good. So today, this came to me. Perfectionism, perfectionist. Maybe you are one of those perfectionists. And this perfection, it's tough if you want to aim that perfection, because as a human being, we are never be perfect. That's why we are human being. We make mistakes, a lot of failing, things don't go well, and we make a lot of mistakes, and we learn from that too, but we never be perfect. That's why we're human being. So lots of flaws, and that's okay. That's us. That's why we can improve better than yesterday and better than today. And we progress. That's what we are as a human being. So when you set the perfectionism in your internal thermostat, you always aim this level, the perfectionism that you set at. So whatever you do, you get depressed, you get discouraged, because this perfectionism set point is so unrealistic, and you will never get there. So for instance, I've been there so many times. You wanted to do something new, so you want to try something, I have no idea, so you start getting informations, reading books, listening to podcasts or seminars, or watching DVDs, or the YouTube, or taking the course, and you input a lot of informations, but you can't really implement it to your real life, because you think to yourself, oh, I might look so dumb, I might look so stupid doing this, imperfectly, and lots of flaws, and I don't know what I'm doing exactly to the 100%. So you aim for the perfectionism before you even try. And that's what I was when I start filming, because I never done it, and every time I film in a review, I look so dumb, I look so stupid to myself, and I don't know what she's talking about, and besides, it looks really bad. So I kept deleting. I've done that for so many months. And also the fear that, okay, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what if people think this way and that way, and I'm not ready for this, and I'm so scared of being judged and being criticized, so that's another set of mindset. But the thing is, you never be perfect, and so when you release that perfectionism, you try something. Okay, so for instance, you learn how to ride a bike. You never done it before. When you look at the kids, I've never seen kids ride on a bike for the first try. They need to learn how to handle that, the object of the bicycle, and you need to find the balance, which is tough at first, because what do you mean? You have to put the left foot on one side and then you go right, but meanwhile you feel like you're losing the balance, you're up in the air and you don't know where to stay, and so you fell because you put too much weight on one side, and it just goes on, right? And it doesn't look smart, it doesn't look perfection, it doesn't look clean, right? It might look really dumb, it might look really stupid to yourself because you're always falling. But when you implement your actions, like you've learned or you heard how to do it, put one foot and another, and you find a balance and you keep going. You need a momentum that you need to go find that balance in between, right? So one thing to have the knowledge, which is inputting, and it's a lot of fun, right? Like you're learning something, but a lot of the times, including me, you stop there without implementing because you feel like you're satisfied, you feel like you've known already. But like riding the bike, you need to actually get on a realistic field to see and test out your knowledge, how it works in your field or in your actual reality. And then as you go along, you say to yourself, oh, how come I can't really find a balance after I put the left foot on? And then you have questions to ask to advance your skill. So first, you need to put yourself out there to do things, implement your knowledge. And that's a 90% of the ratio versus 10% of input. So when I heard this, it's like, oh my God, I was doing totally opposite. I was taking 90% of knowledge, information, and maybe I'm implementing 10%, right? So reverse that, and losing the weight as well. You have so many informations, what to do, how to do, and you get overwhelmed and confused. You don't know what to believe because one say left, one say up, one say down. So you decide you need to trust your gut. You decide one method, and then you think this is good, then focus, implement. And then you gain more of your action. You gain more results from doing actions than just getting information after the other. And even though losing weight part, for instance, getting information is good. Like you need the right ways of doing exercise, right ways to eat, right food to eat, and those knowledge are very important. But if you don't do them in your real life, it doesn't really produce or put you to the results. So you need to literally test it out, how to eat and how you feel after that, and you need the adjustments or the kind of food you eat, and then the workout that works for you or parts of the body, and get your engine going with the muscle mass. And you just don't lose the numbers of the weight because you need the muscle to burn the calories and burn the fat. You need to reduce the fat so that you lose the body fat, not the muscle mass, that sort of things, right? But you need to test it by doing it, actual actions. So that's how you get the results. And again, from the beginning, the perfectionism doesn't really exist because we are always ongoing, progressing creatures. So when you set the perfectionism as your internal thermostat, you will get really discouraged because you're aiming something like you want to jump to the moon, and you try and try and try. It just doesn't happen, and you get frustrated and discouraged. So just get rid of that expectations, and you set your point, the thermostat, that's this is good enough. Like you learned something, you did something, and you improved from yesterday. And what could I do from today for me in tomorrow? So that's how you think. Break it down, so you do something to put the dent, to things that you wanted to achieve. So when you set your internal thermostat to the perfectionism, even though people ask you simple questions like, oh, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And you might say, in your head, my health is not perfect, right? So, oh, I don't feel that good, like this and that. Well, it's not all that good. So because you're setting your expectations so high, you're always looking for something that's not perfect, that's not right, so it really depresses you and putting you down sort of elements, being perfectionist. So just release that, accept who you are, who is not perfect. You might look dumb or silly or not stylish, and that's okay. That's where you learn, and you look at people who are so good at something and look so perfect, but they might not look that in a different field. If they're asked to cook, maybe they have literally no idea. You just don't know, right? So as a human being, we are so good at one thing or other areas, but not good at everything that happens in your life. So when you want to achieve something, you do something a little bit more than yesterday and a little bit more today for the tomorrow you. So that's how improve your life. And inputting is 10% and actual outputting, implementation is 90%. That's what I heard. When I heard that, I thought, oh my God, I was literally doing the opposite. I was putting a lot of information, like 90% of the time or 90% of my day, and 10%, maybe if I'm lucky, implementing it. That's why you get frustrated and you worry so much about, how you look and how you, look dumb maybe and get frustrated or scared. But knowledge is important, one thing, but actual implementation part, actual doing part, action part, that's when things changes. So anything, I think this ideas of 90% action, 10% knowledge or information really does something for you. And I'm in it too because I was doing the reverse. I was getting so much information, thinking overwhelmed or satisfied, and I don't do anything with it. And I get more information and you think about it, but it's like I want to ride a bike and think about it. I know how to do it in my head, but you never touch the bicycle to actually ride on it. So do the reverse and see how it goes. Okay, bye-bye.